Hi everybody, I'm here at Old Ford Farm today to do my first video walk of the season. We're going to do these farm walks about every 2 weeks so that we can talk about what's going on the farm and learn about what's growing and how things change over the season. So let's just take a little bit of a peek into the greenhouse here. This small greenhouse here is used to start transplants. There are two different ways that plants can be planted into a field. They can either be transplanted, they're started in these little trays and then they're taken out when they're seedlings and transplanted into the field, or they can be direct seeded. Seeds are just put into the soil. I'd say the majority of things that go in at this time of year are transplanted, and you can see a bunch of things here waiting for transplant. These are onions right here, and there's a couple of different kinds of lettuce here. There's some onions that are a little bit further behind, and then these are various brassicas. Most of this it looks like cabbage and possibly some kale, but mostly purple and red and green cabbage. So let's head back out. A little cloud in there. Let's head back out into the field here, and I'm just going to walk you through this field, and we're going to talk about the various crops that are here. This is Swiss chard. These were transplanted in not too long ago, and you can see this is what we call rainbow chard. Basically, it's a variety of different colors of Swiss chard that were put in here, and there's a couple of rows of it here. I'm not sure what's under this rime. I have another video where I talk about rime, and if we come down here, basically this entire row is spinach. So all the way down the field, and you can see the spinach are pretty small plants right now. Some farmers transplant it. It looks like this spinach was direct seeded because many of the plants are pretty close together. Also a direct seeded crop. These are herbs right here, and it looks like we have cilantro on the left, dill in the middle, and more cilantro on the right. If you've ever grown cilantro, it goes very, very quickly from being a small plant like this to basically forming seed heads, and so you have to plant it every couple of weeks, every week or two, in order to have cilantro throughout the season. And so over here we have more herbs that were planted a couple of weeks behind the ones that we just saw. And then this might be yet another later planting of herbs. I know that she plants herbs pretty regularly during the season here, and you can see hopefully the little plants down in there just starting to emerge. It's hard to tell what those are right now because they're just at the cotyledon stage, but they're probably another planting of cilantro. Here are a couple of different kinds of lettuces that have been transplanted into this field, and these will be ready in just a couple of weeks when CSA starts. Today is May 12th, and so we are a couple weeks from the start of CSA season here. A lot of this field has not been planted yet, and we'll get later season transplants of things like tomatoes, summer crops. Let's pan around here, and I want to talk for just a minute about cover crops. So this is a cover crop that's been planted into this field right here, and this one is a mix of oats, which are the grass that you can see, and peas, which are the little broadleaf plants that you see coming up. Both grasses and plants like peas have value as a cover crop. They're holding down the soil. Grasses have really dense root systems that help to build soil and hold on to the soil. And peas are a legume. They fix nitrogen. They can take nitrogen out of the air and bring it down into the soil. So eventually this cover crop, once it's grown up a bit and she needs this field for something else, will be plowed in, and this will be planted to something else. And then there's another cover crop here that's been here throughout the winter. This is vetch. It's some kind of hardy vetch that overwintered. Either that or it's something that grew up very fast. And you can see it's also planted with a grass, and I don't know what the grass is. It could be rye. Rye and vetch is a pretty common cover crop over the winter. Vetch is another crop that is a nitrogen fixer, and you can see the very distinctive leaf shape of the vetch plants here. So this cover crop is really dense and is holding down the soil and adding nitrogen to the soil, and it'll add organic matter too when it's plowed in later in the season. So here we have a few more rows of unplanted crops. And the next thing we get to here is onions. And the onions are hard to see because they're underneath this row cover. And I'm just going to pull it back a little bit so that you can see this crop. These are onions, and this row cover is an insect net. It's not Rime, which we talked about before. It is just an insect netting that allows light through but keeps bugs from getting in. And onions are susceptible to a tiny little insect called thrips. And thrips basically chew on the onion plants and make them, they don't kill them, but they make them less productive. And so she's making sure that the thrips don't get into this onion planting here. Here you can see another planting of lettuce, and then a couple of long rows of garlic. And the garlic is big now because, unlike many other crops, garlic is planted in the fall and harvested in the spring. And this garlic is probably a couple of months away from being harvestable, but you can see that it's really been growing hard for a while now. Even though it's just the beginning of May and most crops aren't even in the ground, the garlic starts growing as soon as the ground starts to thaw. And you can see that some of the tips of the garlic plants are even starting to die back a little bit. That's a sign that it's maturing. And in a little while, it will start sending up flowers or scapes, which are another product that you can get from garlic. And then finally, the bulbs will be harvestable end of June, early July. There are several rows here of peas, and the peas are about 4 or 5 inches tall right now, and they look really good. I think these sticks in here may be set up for trellis for these. Some peas get trellised, some just kind of grow in a bush form and plop over. So I'm not sure if these sticks are for trellising the peas or if they're for a crop that's going to go in after the peas later in the season. You can see some straw mulch on this part of the field, and straw mulch is used for a number of different reasons. My guess is that this is potatoes planted in here, and the mulch is basically being used as a weed barrier, but I don't know that for sure. I'm going to have to ask her about the mulch. And then if we pan around to this other side, we have kale also growing under insect netting here. I don't know how well you can see those plants under the insect netting, but kale is susceptible to a couple of different kinds of pests that I talked about when we talked about remay. It's susceptible to flea beetles, which chew little holes in the leaves, and it's susceptible to swede midge, which chomps on the growing point, the apical meristem of the plant, and can actually stop its growth. So this insect netting is protecting it from both. You can see the wire hoops that she has in here, and that's to keep the netting from laying on the plants and keeping them from growing upright. And then over here on the other side we have a couple more brassicas and some more greens. I'm not sure exactly what these are, maybe arugula growing right here. This looks like arugula, also growing under row cover. And then over here, spring brassicas. And I'm not going to pull this back, but it's probably kale and cabbage and some other things. So that is our early May farm tour, and I'm excited to continue to take you out here to talk about how things progress throughout the season. Of the farm right now, and the fields are a patchwork of different things, and that diversity helps to protect against pests and assures that there's a diverse crop coming out for CSA at all different times of the year. See you soon.